Coming up on the next episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
We welcome Kelly Stroman, a passionate advocate for inclusion and community support. As the managing director of the Friendship Foundation, Kelly leads programs that empower children and young adults with disabilities, helping them thrive through social programs, vocational training, and unique experiences like ocean therapy. It's an inspiring conversation about connection and the power of community.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
You're now listening to Zuzu All Grown Up.
She's been featured in more than 20 films from the early days of film and television.
He is a psychotherapist and her loving husband.
Together, they are on a mission to brighten your day and your life.
It's a time to smile, a time to laugh, a time to expect more.
It's time to get inspired with your hosts, Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
It's time to meet Zuzu, all grown up.
In this special episode of Zuzu, All Grown Up, and throughout this season, we'll honor Dr. Leo Buscaglia, affectionately known as the Hug Doctor, by exploring his profound teachings on love, self-acceptance, and positive connection. We'll delve into the impact his legacy continues to have on countless lives. Join us today for some of the poignant stories and reflections from those who were influenced by his work and share in his mission to spread love and hugs to the world. That's today on this very special edition of Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Hello, everybody. We've got a treat for you today. We're joined by Kelly Stroman, Managing Director of Friendship Foundation.
The topic is changing the world one friend at a time. The program is a match of children with special needs with student volunteers for fun peer interactions. Also provides supportive services to families as well.
Get ready for miracles. Get ready for Zuzu. All Grown Up.
Imagine a world where every child, regardless of ability, has a place to belong, where they can build friendships, gain real-world skills, and experience the joy of being part of a community. That's exactly what today's guest is helping create. We have the privilege of speaking with Kelly Stroman, the Managing Director of the Friendship Foundation. What began over 18 years ago as a small group of students and volunteers has since grown into a transformative movement recognized by the Dr. Leo Buscaglia Foundation. Kelly, we can't wait to hear more about this incredible journey. Welcome to the show. Karolyn, Dr. Chris, over to you.
We're joined by Kelly Stroman.
And she is going to tell us about a wonderful, wonderful program. I guess I'll just let you tell us what it's about.
The Friendship Foundation was founded over 18 years ago. It started with 8 individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and 22 volunteers. And those volunteers were a combination of some siblings, some neighbors, some parents, friends, coming together at the time on Sundays to enjoy social time, sharing resources, and kind of having fun together. At the time, the 8 individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities were at 3 different area high schools, and them, combined with a couple of the volunteers, went to their high school principals and convinced them to start what was called friendship clubs on campus. I think people are familiar with, the lacrosse club, the science club, different types of student-led clubs on campus. They wanted to start a friendship club on each one of the campuses. So to kind of bring individuals together on campus and help increase the knowledge so everybody understands each other. And it also gave a chance for the gen ed population to volunteer. So they formed these clubs on 3 different high school campuses, and they would get together at lunchtime to share a meal, to share stories, to learn about each other. And that has grown exponentially over the years into thousands of students and thousands of student volunteers across 22 school districts and 77 friendship clubs, literally making a more inclusive, understanding, sensitive, caring world. That's how we started. And we've grown massively to this point today. So that is the very base of who we are. In addition to the friendship clubs, which continue to grow, gain momentum, in some high schools, they're actually the number one club on campus, which is amazing. These clubs have anywhere from 25 students to over hundreds on some of the larger high school campuses. In addition to that, we offer over 60 programs a month for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, ages pretty much 8 to 35 plus. We don't cut off at 35 years old, but that's pretty much our sweet spot. So we have individuals as young as 8 and as old as 35 to 40 years old, taking programs anywhere from a lot of sports and fitness and wellness programs, cooking, the arts, sound, dance, science, social activities, you name it. And we try to offer gardening is one of them, farmers market field trips. So these programs not only teach and provide social skills, life skills, cooking skills, athletic, exercise, and really teaching them how to be a healthy human, but they also are very much a part with the volunteers participating. So everything we do always brings IDD, the intellectual and developmental disability population, together with the gen ed population. And there are always participants and student volunteers involved with our staff and our rec leaders leading the programs too. In addition to that, we run a 6-week summer camp, which is very robust every summer for over 750 kids and volunteers. And that is a mashup of everything we do. It brings together those friendship club kiddos from all the different schools. It brings together our older adults into the program that have been with us for years and years and years. And it's a staff and student-led camp that provides often the only ability for individuals with a disability to come and do a summer camp. A lot of these kiddos don't even think they can, there's no camp for them. So we offer a really safe, fun, inclusive atmosphere for them to come have fun during the summer. What's next is the Friendship Campus. The Friendship Campus is a magnificent project that has been a dream of our founder for so long, for years and years and years. It's now about 8 years in the making between all the planning, design, conceptual, process and the whole 9 yards. We broke ground about 1.5 years ago, and it will open, hopefully, knock on wood, in the mid to late fall of 2025. The campus will be an amazing community center where individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities can come and take all the programs that we offer now just in one place, vastly expanded into other opportunities. And we will have a whole vocational pathway and work experience program to help these individuals explore, discover vocations that they didn't even know existed, or maybe they thought they couldn't do, and then enter vocational programming to learn and to train on how to do some of these things. Then we'll help them get them placed into viable jobs in the community.
So are you in the Los Angeles area? Is that where this facility will be located?
Yes. So the Friendship Foundation has been and currently is located in Redondo Beach, California, which is a suburb of Los Angeles. We're just a stone's throw from LAX area, the airport, and about 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles for those listeners who are out in other parts of the country or the world listening. Redondo Beach is our current home, and it will continue to be our home. About a mile away is where we are building the Friendship Campus. It's on Inglewood Avenue, which is the main thoroughfare up through LA, and it's kind of at the base of that area too.
Good location, right in the middle of everything, the world. What has been the most awe-inspiring aspect of the program in the last 17 years?
Oh boy, that is a good question. I mean, the growth is just amazing, but the growth doesn't happen without the willingness of the community to truly make an impact on this population and thus the world. So I think coming out of the pandemic, a lot of people are more inclusive minded. They're also more understanding that a lot of people have disabilities that maybe aren't visible. We deal with everything from extreme anxiety and ADHD, a lot of autism, to Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, and many other forms of disabilities that aren't necessarily mainstream names. Some are visible, some aren't. And I think the community and the world in general is understanding that we have to be a little more accepting and a little more compassionate and thoughtful in realizing, what is going on with somebody. You can't always see it. Sometimes you can hear it. Sometimes you can't hear it. I think the growth that we have seen, and particularly in the last few years, is just astonishing. If you can visualize Los Angeles County pretty much opening their arms to being a more inclusive community, which is a massive millions of people, but really embracing and trying to be more inclusive minded of individuals with any form of, of varying ability. We're not all the same. And I think people are understanding that.
Most organizations have a little difficulty getting volunteers, and I'm sure you need very many volunteers. How do you go about getting them, and how do you train them?
I love that question because half of who we are is volunteer-based, and that's not talked about enough. And that's one of my missions, is to really explain to the community of the world that we are out there teaching youth why they should volunteer, how to volunteer, and really the benefits and the spirit of volunteerism. That's so important. These kiddos can start volunteering with us as young as age 8. And most of them do that via the friendship clubs in one of their schools, because now we have all these friendship clubs at the elementary, middle, and high school level. We have our first one forming in a college in the fall, which is super exciting. So we're going to start making colleges more inclusive places and understanding places also. Most of them start in the friendship club in their school. And they learn about the friendship club, maybe their friend, maybe they have a sibling or a neighbor who's involved, and they get involved that way, and they have fun, and it fills up their heart. I mean, we have kids at the high school level and the college level who come back in summer to be employed or to volunteer in our summer camp, who forego, I'm not kidding, this is true stories, they forego internships in their chosen field of study. Why? Because they have been for years. It fills up their heart, and it gives them that pure joy, as does it for participants also. That's pretty remarkable. We've had a couple kids forego family vacations. And, hey, Mom, can I stay home while the rest of you go to XYZ? Because I want to continue and work the whole 6 weeks for the Friendship Foundation. It's remarkable. Our friendship volunteer base is over 2,500 young kids. You can be older. You can volunteer. We do have older adults volunteering. We actually have some older adult programs, but the majority, I would say, under 25. Our summer camp volunteer slots, because everything's very calculated. We have to make sure we have enough people at each time. They book out every single summer. So we actually have a wait list for volunteers. And then just our monthly programs and events and clinics and fun things that we do too throughout the year. Always we have groups lining up to volunteer with us, or we have recurring volunteers who particularly like certain programs, whether it's the cooking program, or some of the athletic programs or whatever it is. We just put the word out. We put out the sign up, they're filled up. And the fact that summer camp has a wait list for volunteers, as it does participants, is pretty remarkable. And we love that, because we know we are having a real positive effect on both populations, the IDD population and the Gen Ed, and really creating, joy. I mean, it fills up their hearts too. They love hanging out with these kiddos, and the bonds that are made and the friendships and the mentoring. Sometimes the student volunteers learn just as much or more than our participants. And a good example, two of them come to mind, are cooking classes. Because everything we do, we have the participants, we have staff, and then we have volunteers to kind of buddy and help facilitate. In the cooking classes, you can see the student volunteers, watching and looking how to chop or how to boil or something. And you're like, this kiddo is learning too. They're not just there volunteering. And then we get phone calls from parents going, kid came home and cooked XYZ because of you guys. So we love that. We also piloted a financial empowerment program last year. Because if we're going to be teaching these individuals life skills and how to be responsible community members and live in some independence in the community, they need to have financial skills. They need to know what a paycheck is. They need to know what to do with that paycheck, how to interact with the bank, whether online or in person. They need to know what digital money is, Venmo, PayPal, when they purchase an app, that's actually money. And so we teach these classes and teach them how to handle all these different forms of currency and income. And again, we have student volunteers involved, right? Well, you see the student volunteers go, maybe I should be saving, this part of my paycheck or this and learning also. So we take a lot of joy in really making a difference in everybody's life and for all abilities.
Can you explain like a friendship club and how many do you have in California?
Our friendship clubs are the school clubs. There are over 77 total now. That number changes almost, monthly because of the need. So the friendship clubs are kind of school calendar dependent, depending on the school and the district. We do have a few clubs in other states that came to us during the pandemic and searched us online, found us in inclusive programs for kids with autism or whatever they were searching. They found the Friendship Foundation and our school clubs. And everybody then was looking for online resources and how to teach online and offer programs online. In LA alone, there are probably about 68 or 69 in LA County, with the rest being outside of LA County and in other states. Those clubs start with a seed. They start with maybe a sibling or a participant who goes to a new school and hears about our friendship clubs at other schools or from friends and says, hey, I want to start that at my school. Or sometimes we are going into a district going, we have a great relationship with you with other programs that we do, but we don't have enough friendship clubs at enough of your schools, because we know that if we can get more and more and increase the amount of friendship clubs at the elementary level, then that builds to the middle, the high school, and then it keeps going out and out. Sometimes there's gaps, like we don't have one at a certain middle school, but when kids graduating out of an elementary school or moving on to a school, they're like, hey, can we start a club at the middle school? Or a parent does. So sometimes it's student driven, sometimes it's parent driven, sometimes it's educator driven. You have educators who move schools or move districts, and they'll get to a new location. They'll say, wait, we don't have a friendship club here. What? Let's start that. So it does take the students, it takes the volunteers, and it takes a teacher or an administrator on each campus to spearhead it, to provide their classroom, because then we come in with resources, kind of a template of how to execute a friendship club, the activities. We don't charge the schools anything for the friendship clubs. We send in personnel, supplies, staff, uniforms, so everybody on campus can identify that's a part of the club as being a part of the friendship club.
That gives them unity. I think that's something that's good for them for self-confidence. So can you also share what's involved with your ocean and surf therapy program?
Oh, yes. That is a very popular program. We started a few years ago. We partner with the Jimmy Miller Memorial Foundation. I've had a relationship with that foundation through years, way before I came even to the Friendship Foundation. And when I got to the Friendship Foundation years ago, I looked at our program development director and said, why are we doing any aquatics or surfing or swimming, programs? And before the pandemic, they had actually some snorkeling trips over to Catalina Island here, but we didn't have anything really formal. One of the co-founders of the Jimmy Miller Memorial Foundation checked in with me one day. I'd known her for years, and just to say, hey, how are things going at the Friendship Foundation? I'm like, I'm so glad you called, because I've been talking about, starting a surfing program. So it was literally a match made in heaven. The Jimmy Miller Memorial Foundation has been doing surf programs for decades. They started working with veterans and getting them in the water for, to overcome PTSD and other problems. And they have a mental health component that is next to none. They have clinicians that work in the groups, as well as, surfers and water ocean therapy. So we were the first kind of adaptive surfing program that they ran. And like most things we do on a larger scale, we like to pilot them first. The folks at Jimmy Miller and us, we're like, well, let's just try this out. Let's try it. We'll kind of hand select 8 or 12 participants the first one. You run your program. We're going to bring, the individuals. We'll have some of our staff, because we're, experts on working with individuals with special needs and any of the behavioral, issues or fears. We're going to come together. We're going to try this out. It was the most beautiful thing, because we had participants who were saying, there's no way I'm going to go in the water. There's no way I'm going to surf today. I'll sit on the beach and watch. Some of our staff are like, okay, we're not sure how this is going to go. How are we going to do this? Jimmy Miller staff, we educated in advance some of the things to look for when you're working with individuals with disabilities. It was so beautiful. Everybody got in the water. Everybody overcame their fears. The Jimmy Miller staff were like, okay, when can we do that again? That was phenomenal. Like, that was one of our favorite programs that we've ever done. And we learned so much. So we're like, boom, that's what it's all about. It was a massive success. And now we have, I think, 8 sessions this summer. We break them kind of into the 18 and under age group with our participants, and then the older adults group. It's a 3-hour, beautifully led session where they get them together. They talk about themselves, their fears, something fun, a fun fact about them. Everybody shares, including all the counselors. They get them in the water. They give them some dry, sand lessons on how to get up on the board and everything. Some of them get out there, they're fearless and they just go for it. Others just want to be pushed and kind of ride the waves real gently. Some don't want to get in. Their form of participation is maybe just getting their feet wet or touching the water, and that's okay. We try to meet every participant in any of our programs at the level that they will receive joy in participating. So if their idea of participating is standing there and touching the water, getting to know the water with a counselor safely and overcoming that fear, fantastic. And guess what happens? Usually the next time they're a little bit further, then a little bit further, and a little bit further, So it's a beautiful program that I think the Jimmy Miller Foundation it lit them up. They were surprised. We were surprised. And we literally can't book enough days. Fortunately, living in Southern California, our water is pretty warm up until about October, November. So we can extend those beach days into the fall. They now invite us to their big, what's called the Jimmy in the fall. It's a big event that they put on the beach, and it's team oriented, and there's all these fun activities. And they have one of our participants on each team, which is just amazing. That's beautiful when that happens, when the magic happens, and everybody benefits from it.
So with individuals with unique abilities participating in your programs, what type of supportive services do you have for family members?
That's a great question. We like to do seminars, parent nights, education. So we partner with Connecta Federal Credit Union on this, is creating special needs trusts. They have some trust partners through their wealth management division that we bring in. I think every parent in general, let alone you add in any type of special need, worries about what's going to happen to their child at any age if they're no longer here. One of the big concerns always is housing, which we can get to in another conversation if you want. But money-wise, how is this child going to survive? Are they going to have the supportive services they need? And when I say child, they can be 18, they can be 10, they can be 40 years old. Setting them up properly so they are taken care of with all the right services. We do that usually once or twice a year. It is massively popular. We also bring in tax consultants who help the parents navigate all the tax implications of special needs trusts, SSI benefits and everything. So we really try to help pave the way for parents to feel more comfortable with that. We do vocational seminars. If your child is receiving SSI, how they can also receive a salary and the tax implications of that. We did a beautiful movie premiere. The name is escaping my mind, but it was ASD, the band. It was a movie made by individuals with autism who created a band and went on the road. Amazing movie. And we premiered that in a partnership with them, brought in our families and brought in the participants for everybody to learn together that your dream is possible. In a nutshell, that was kind of the theme. So we offer different programs along those lines. Sometimes we just offer support groups. Like, hey, it's going to be a parent's night, a mom's night, a caregiver's night, and come in and talk and share resources. There's so many resources out there, so many. So whether we host it ourselves, whether parent calls us or somebody moving into town calls and says, hey, I'm new. Where do I start? I have a child with autism. Where do I start? How do I navigate the schools? But we'll help introduce them to different groups that can kind of address each individual need that they have.
I work with several people that are on the spectrum in my own line of work as a clinical psychologist. And, one of the surprising takeaways I've seen is how incredibly gifted that a lot of these individuals, they really break down specific interest in their life or area of their life, that they see things that most people would not ever see, because they dive deep. And musically or, engineer wise, just amazing. It's like genius, actually. At least that's how it comes across. So I have a really fresh appreciation right now.
It's fascinating. And when you see that superpower in them and that super knowledge, I agree with you 100%. It's beautiful. And sometimes it's a matter of helping them realize what their superpowers, helping them realize their talents and bringing that out. I mean, we want to ignite those passions. We want to find those talents, give them a safe place to explore, practice, have fun, make mistakes, whatever it is, and learn. I think everybody deserves the ability to explore and have fun. Everybody deserves, happiness. And that's what we try to really provide a landscape for everybody to be able to do that. I have a fun story for you.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
Start your morning right with premium coffee roasts available at ZuzuNetwork.com and drink them in your Zuzu All Grown Up coffee mug. Also perfect for tea and hot chocolate.
Stay inspired throughout the day with the same gratitude journal used by Karolyn and Chris, and check out t-shirts, hats, books, Christmas keepsakes, and more at ZuzuNetwork.com/shop.
Join Zuzu's network today at ZuzuNetwork.com/join.
Karolyn is creating an international network of aspiring angels, everyday people who believe that they can help make the world a better place by making life better for even just one other person.
Let us know you want to earn your wings at ZuzuNetwork.com/join, and Karolyn and Chris will send you inspirational material to support you in your journey.
We're back with more Zuzu All Grown Up.
One of our original participants, his name is Jacob. Everybody knows Jacob. He comes to our office at least once a week, if not twice. He is our chief paper shredder. That is his gig. He loves shredding papers. We save all of our documents for him. He gets to come in. He has his little corner where he prefers to sit on the ground. That's his style, and shred all the papers. If we don't take the staples out, we hear about it from him. He's very specific with his paper shredding. He's an ambassador for us. He goes to a lot of programs. When we're giving presentations or speeches, often I'll bring him, along, or he's at other functions with us. He's one of our many representatives and ambassadors that we have. But a couple years ago, we have a group from Japan that comes through once a year. They go to Las Vegas for an archery competition every year. It's like the world archery competition. And there's this group in Japan that does archery for mostly autistic children or individuals. And they always come and visit us on their way back to Japan after they're done in Las Vegas. And they always they want to do little archery lessons with our participants, which is fascinating because the laser focus to shoot a bow and everything, they are so dialed into it. And I'm completely fascinated and appreciative of it. First time they came after the pandemic, it was on a Monday when Jacob was here. And they come in, and, they're English speaking, but there's heavy Japanese, going through. And Jacob, who will always kind of listen, he stands up and he's always very polite. And he goes over and he starts speaking in Japanese to these guests. And we've all known Jacob forever. And we're like, what? What is happening here? And they're fascinated. Our mouths are hanging open, right? And he was speaking. I mean, he was conversing with them. And we're like, what just happened? And when his father picked Jacob up a couple hours later, and his father is retired military and has traveled a lot. So we're like, where did Jacob learn Japanese? Mm-hmm. Was it through your travels in the military, And Jacob has Down syndrome and, presents with quite a bit of a stutter. And we're like, where did he learn that? And his dad looks at us like, what are you talking about? And we're like, he just had a conversation in Japanese with our guests that were here. They had just left, so he didn't meet them. But none of us can do that. We were blown away. It was fluent. He's looking at us like, what are you talking about? And he goes, my barber is Japanese. And a lot of the guests that come in while I'm getting my hair haircut every couple of weeks are Japanese, and they speak as they enter in and converse with him. Jacob must have picked it up by just sitting and watching me get my haircut every couple of weeks. That's one of my favorite stories. There's so many others. We have participants who will walk in and just to say hello, they're in the neighborhood or whatever. Or, we have others that are nonverbal or moderately verbal who can cook or who can chop with laser focus. They can do computer programming. We have one individual who's younger. We are all just fascinated by her because she has what appears a real obsession with technology and computers, anything, cell phone, anything technology driven. But she can decode your password and do things faster than you can blink your eye. Can't wait to be a part of her journey in her life and see where we can get her employed down the road or special, skills, because it's amazing. So you can look at it as a hurdle or a burden or a disability, or you can look at it as pure ability and pure opportunity, because a lot of these individuals have superpowers and super talent that we can't even dream of.
That's true. I have someone I was working, he's autistic. So he had a song for every aspect of life. He was able to attach the music to how he felt. That's how he managed his world. And so he would do it for other people too. Like he would get to know somebody, he'd know about them, he'd play songs related to them. And they would just be blown away because it's like, oh my God. On the other hand, that a lot of people with autism were not understood and they were treated very poorly. If they had a program like this, that, their family, friends, doctors would have been able to rejoice in who they are and accept them where they are. Thank you for all the work that you're doing. It's changing the dynamic of those that have special abilities.
Yeah, it is. Thank you for saying that, because it's easier just to dismiss something and walk on, right? Or deny something and keep going or whatever, ignore or assume. It takes more energy or thought or emotion to dive in and understand or to become educated on something, to learn something, right? And I really see at the Friendship Foundation, we love educating individuals, and whether it's the community, whether it's schools through the friendship clubs, vocationally, we're out there talking to businesses. When we're writing, when we're fundraising and writing grants, when I'm talking or we're presenting or writing something, is to say the most underserved population in the world is the special needs community. That's all different colors, all different shapes and sizes, but the special needs community is the most underserved population. And the majority of people don't think of it that way. They think of more the obvious, underserved communities. And when I say that to people, either in a speech, a presentation, or, an email, or everybody just stops immediately and you can see the wheels turning. And I go, this has to be a part of your social change strategy, of your giving strategy, of your education strategy, because like we discussed earlier, so much talent there. And all these individuals can add so much to society, to a workplace, small and large. Corporations are just small businesses. They want to learn, they want to employ, they're fascinated, they see some of the benefits, but they don't know how, or they're afraid, or what do I have to do, or what are legal implications, whatever it might be. So we're here to also educate and train the business world, and that's really where another big part of the Friendship Campus that will really be taking off, because you see the need. It's not just checking a box saying we have a program for this or we donated for this. It's rolling up your sleeves, getting involved, and really getting to know the beauty, as we just said, of the talents. They're vast. And just when you think you've seen a lot or heard a lot, then something else presents itself. It's just beautiful. And when we can ignite that in an individual, in a volunteer, in the corporate world, or in whatever it is, that's what life is all about.
For sure.
And all these student volunteers and all the people that we touch and become, they become a voice. A group that started when they were 8 or 9 years old, volunteering in our summer camps, that are now have graduated first or second year in college, or in graduating now. And they're taking these and starting informal clubs in their sororities, fraternities. One of them is actually starting a friendship club on the college campus. And we're like, yes, because then that will roll into those individuals graduating and getting their first jobs and educating, right? So we're making progress. And I used to say, we put the I in DEI. and that is inclusion. And then somebody within the federal government actually corrected me. However, it's actually called DEIA. And the A is for accessibility. And that was an executive order that now President Biden signed about 3 years ago as a focus into accessibility and programs and more funding for that. So it's really DEIA. They never say it's DEIA, they say DEI. So when we start talking about accessibility, and I think the average person thinks of accessibility as wheelchair accessible or physically accessible, but there's so much more beyond just the physical. It's the intellectual part of accessibility too. So we're always out there talking to everybody, trying to help educate them, and no one disagrees. They all just go, You can tell they've never been educated, never thought about it, or they never had the opportunity to even be engaged in that. So, we work with all different sizes of foundations and donor and foundation based in our funding. And one of the beautiful organizations that has donated to our programs is Buscaglia Foundation. They've been so generous to us, and really they saw the opportunity of what we're doing in the community, and they got it. There's plenty of others who, when we're writing and we're reaching out, going, okay, you fund this, you fund that, but have you ever thought about making your strategy for this population? And then 9 times out of 10, they do. Thank you for educating us. And we want to give this more attention in our giving strategy, which is really fabulous.
Tell us about the Skechers peer-to-peer friendship walk.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That is a big part of what we do.
We'll join Karolyn and Chris in just a moment with more of Zuzu All Grown Up.
First, an important message.
To find out more about the organization featured in today's episode or a previous episode, and to learn more about how you can help, go to zuzunetwork.com/beanangel.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Zuzu's book club features recommendations from Zuzu herself on books she loves and thinks you will love also. All of the books that the club reads, fiction and nonfiction, are inspirational and uplifting. Folks, this is a life-enhancing club to be part of. You can sign up for free at zuzunetwork.com/book club. That's zuzunetwork.com/book club.
This is Zuzu, all grown up.
Skechers is, they're a huge part of the community in Manhattan Beach. They were founded here. They have several offices here, all the corporate headquarters. Founding family, the Greenberg family, our good friend. Skechers is actually the largest footwear company in the world. They're number 2 in the sports footwear, which behind a very large name brand that we all know, but they're huge and they're very giving to the community. They're one of our founding donors to the Friendship Campus. They give generously to our foundation, to our programs too, and they've been a part of everything we do for the last 18 years. The Skechers peer-to-peer friendship walk was co-founded by Michael Greenberg, the president of Skechers, and Yossi Mintz, our founder, in a way to create inclusion in the community, to bring all the schools together, create awareness and funds for the schools and for the Friendship Foundation. We bring all of the walkers. Last year we had 20,700 plus walkers.
Wow.
So it's all those schools that we work with. It's getting all those kiddos signed up, their families. And then Skechers produces it. They bring all the marketing, the sizzle, the talent through all their reach. The money raised for the walk with the registration fees and all the donors and just generosity in the community benefits 6 education foundations in the South Bay, the 6 main cities in the South Bay, and the Friendship Foundation. And the education foundations grant the money to their school district and the schools, and they use it for things for science programs, to purchasing new equipment, to maybe the school needs a new digital marquee. At the Friendship Foundation, the funds that we receive, half of what we receive goes to our general operating for our programs within the foundation. And then the other half of what we receive goes towards the capital campaign to build the Friendship Campus too. Every year it just grows and grows. And when I look historically back over the 15 years, and I've been in the community for a long time, so way before I've been with the Friendship Foundation, I was participating in the walk either with my kids when they were much younger or in the business world and other things that I did. And, it's gone from, I think, raising, don't quote me, but something like, $20,000 the first year to now, millions of dollars. And beyond that, it's everybody coming together, all abilities and alumni, if you will, coming back to walk. It gets school administrators, it gets city officials out, and there's nothing like 20,000 people walking down the Strand from Manhattan to Hermosa, and all walks and shapes and sizes and dogs, everybody, and coming back, and they get medals, and it's just pure joy. And when you ask people why they do it and what they enjoy most, almost always they say, doing this with my friends and coming together. And you see the smiles, and it's pretty cool.
Well, can you tell us information that we can give to our listeners so that maybe they can support your wonderful efforts?
Absolutely. So you can find the Friendship Foundation, friendshipfoundation.com. It's very simple. If you go there, you can see more about our programs. You can learn how to volunteer, how to participate, or how to give. It's all on the website. We welcome all abilities, financially, physically, intellectually. We appreciate everybody and every donation or gift that we get. But if you want to volunteer and give us the gift of your time and your resources, that's wonderful too. The Friendship Campus, you can learn more about that by also going to the friendshipfoundation.com website /campus. You'll see a tab up at the top. You can learn more about it there. You can email us at info@friendshipfoundation.com for more information. If you're moving to the area and you need help, resources, if you have questions about, the schools, if you need resource therapies or anything for your family or a loved one or anybody who is in help, please call us or email us. Stop in and see us. And we love helping people, get settled and getting them involved in our programs or in the community also. So friendshipfoundation.com or friendshipfoundation.com /campus to learn more about the Friendship Campus. You can also follow us on Instagram. I always say that if you really want to know and see what we're all about and what we do, follow us on Instagram, the Friendship Foundation on Instagram. We post all of our programs and our participants and our volunteers, everything we do. It's pure joy. It's fun. And that will really help you understand who we are and what we're all about.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly.
I think you're a group of angels is what I think.
Oh, well, thank you. I think we have a lot of angels overlooking us and on our shoulders, guiding us. And I think everybody, has angels, and, you find that place in your heart that wants to give back, and giving back is your time, your energy. That's all currency too. And however you change the world, our motto is we're changing the world one friendship at a time. And those friendships come in all different, shapes and sizes and abilities. So that's what we're all about.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Wow.
Been very inspiring.
Yes.
Thank you.
There should be more people like you. You're so full of positive energy. It's beautiful.
What I get to experience here at the Friendship Foundation is I see it every day. The pure joy that we create. And if I don't see the actual people here in the office, there's pictures everywhere. And that really, it's like looking at the ocean, how it gives you a sense of awe or the beauty of the mountains, whatever it is. And when I look at these faces and the families that we really make a difference for, or you get an email from somebody saying, thank you so much. Or I just got one yesterday from a volunteer that we gave a scholarship to. She's going off to college because we also give scholarships. She's been an outstanding volunteer and created and runs our science program. Sent this beautiful note, like, thank you so much. And this is the impact that you've had on my life. And because of you, I'm studying this and this and this at Vanderbilt University in the fall. And you're just like, this is, that's what it's all about. I like to, make a difference, and this foundation does so. Thank you for having, me on and finding the Friendship Foundation and giving me the opportunity to share with everybody what we're all about.
Thank you for joining us. Remember, every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
The Friendship Foundation is more than just an organization. It's a movement that is reshaping how we see inclusion and accessibility. A heartfelt thank you to Kelly Stroman for sharing her passion and the incredible impact of her work. Kelly's efforts remind us that every act of kindness, every opportunity for connection, and every step toward inclusion makes a difference. I'm Seth Kennedy, and you've been listening to Zuzu, All Grown Up.
Do you know someone who is earning their wings? Someone practicing kindness and service to others? Perhaps an organization or initiative helping make the world we live in a kinder, sweeter place.
Or maybe you've witnessed the miraculous, the divine, the magnificent in some way in your life, and you'd like to share it with others. Go to zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory and let us know more.
You may end up being featured on an upcoming episode of Zuzu All Grown Up. That's zuzunetwork.com/tellmystory.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Zuzu All Grown Up.
We hope you've been inspired to live your most wonderful life now and to help those around you do the same.
Remember, no matter what you're going through, no matter who you are, there are people who care about you, and your life makes a difference.
It is a wonderful life.
Check out ZuzuNetwork.com for more on today's and other episodes, including transcripts and merchandise you won't want to be without.
New episodes are coming soon.
For transcripts of today's broadcast, go to ZuzuNetwork.com/transcripts.
Watch a video clip of today's episode at www.instagram.com/Zuzu All Grown Up. That's www.instagram.com/Zuzu All Grown Up. Then click on the Reels tab from the top of the center of the page. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at www.instagram.com/Zuzu All Grown Up. That's www.instagram.com/Zuzu All Grown Up. Catch up on past episodes and discover currently premiering and upcoming episodes as well, and get helpful links and exclusive clips from our recordings. That's www.instagram.com/Zuzu All Grown Up.
Zuzu All Grown Up with your hosts Karolyn Grimes and Dr. Chris Brunell.
Announcer and guide Seth Kennedy.
Executive producer Kevin R. Stillmock.
Coordinating producer Holly Ann Way.
Technical producer Stella Joelle.
Managing producer Karina Filatova. A Wonderful Land production.
In collaboration with Radio Wonderful.